What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, back with another MK1 commentary. This particular video is on my main character, the one whom I've played in every single Mortal Kombat that I own, Sub-Zero. Now, I'm gonna keep it a G-stack. Sub-Zero's struggling in this game. He's struggling real bad. Because before the game officially got released, we had a beta. And in the beta, he was very strong. He was very powerful. I would go and say that I'd go out on a limb and say he was perfect the way he was. But too many people were using him, and people deemed him too strong, and he got nerfed. He got hit with the Nerf bat, much like a certain yellow cameo recently just did. Okay. But nonetheless, though Sub-Zero got nerfed, and he is the very worst character in the game so far, that does not mean that you should not play this character. If you love Sub-Zero and you have good neutral and patience, you can play this character and you can win if you do what I'm doing here. Okay? So for one, Sub-Zero is a keep away character. He is a keep away character in this game. Maybe once his frame data gets better, he won't be. But as of right now, Sub-Zero is a character that really does not want to be all up in your face that much. And the reasons are simple. His frame data is lacking. He did have a really good mid that was 12 frames. Now that mid is 15 frames, so it's slow. And it didn't receive any buffs to compensate. It has the same range that it once did. It can still be low profiled, but it's 15 frames. Okay. And that's his only mid combo starter. He does have a decent low string, back 3-4, but it doesn't lead to a combo unless you have specific cameos. But I like the string quite a bit because it advances him a fair distance forward. And what I really like doing is whiffing the back three and, purposely whiffing the back three and canceling it into other strings. Sub-Zero also has 1-2, which is a typical jab string. But probably my bread and butter string that I love for Sub-Zero is 2-1. Now, the only issue with both 1-2 and 2-1 is that both of those strings have gaps in them. And those gaps can be comboed with full armor. So you don't want to get too used to using those on block. You want to try to use his strings seldomly. And so to that end, you want to keep your opponent at range. Now, in addition to those buttons, of course, Sub-Zero has his famous or infamous back 2 overhead, which is 24 frames now instead of an unreactable 19. And people can and will react to this online. But the idea is not to be going for it all the time, The less that you use the move, the more likely it is it will hit when you do use it. And I'll demonstrate that momentarily. Also, Sub-Zero has a tremendous set of pokes. Down 3 most especially. Which I love using down 3 clone. Ooh. So this is supposedly the worst character in the game going up against the best character in the game. But somehow I'm making people quit with the best character in the game. The so-called best character in the game. Funny. I'm starting to think the best character is perhaps not the best character. We'll see. But anyway, Sub-Zero has fantastic pokes. Down 3 being chiefest amongst them. They have a lot of range. Now, Down 3 has one glaring problem. It's only +9 on hit, so it doesn't jail into any of his strings. And because it pushes so far back, it's very difficult to do Down 3 and then jail it into stand 1. But considering the way that he plays, I don't really think Sub-Zero wants to jail too many strings. Not often, anyway. I kind of want to play at range with this character. Now, what supports this idea that he's a ranged character? Well, Ice Clone, for one. It's a fast move. It's even faster in the air. And it's designed to stop the opponent from advancing on you. But in addition to that, Sub-Zero has one other move, that Ice Punch, which nullifies projectiles. Actually, it destroys projectiles. And hits the opponent for 80 damage, which amounts to 8%. It's good. Now, the one drawback that it has is that it doesn't go full screen, but that's neither here nor there. He controls, the first 2/3 of the screen with that particular special. Ooh. Other notable special moves. Sub-Zero has the ground freeze maneuver, down forward 4. And if you EX it, he can get a combo from it. There you go. That's the move right there. Now, what's notable about this move is that it tracks. So anywhere the opponent is on the screen, that move will track them and hit them. And even if they block it, it still does chip, which is very nice. But that move scales combos so bad, I barely even use it for that reason. Because it scales so bad, but I need to start making more use out of it. Obviously, Sub-Zero has slide, and his slide is 14 frames, which is slower than it was, but it goes full screen now. So the opponent always has to be worried about the threat of that slide, But one move of his that's really, really good is Sub-Zero's dive kick. His dive kick is phenomenal, actually. Because if done at the right height and right distance, the move can be completely safe. I'm talking -3 safe. -3 on block for a dive kick that combos is bananas. Now, if you hit it at maximum height, it becomes unsafe. So when you're performing this move, you got to be careful, but it's a great move. It's quite phenomenal. So I love it quite a bit. Now, one move that I do not love is Sub-Zero's Ice Ball. It is easily the worst version of the Ice Ball Sub-Zero's ever had in any Mortal Kombat game. I'm not bullshitting. It's bad. It's bad. Okay? For one, you can't combo into it. You cannot perform a string into Ice Ball. And that's because the Ice Ball is 39 frames on startup. Absolute lunacy. Absolute lunacy. You need cameos to combo into it, which would be fine, except when you combo into the ice ball, it doesn't last very long. So you better be ready to like mad dash to the opponent to do a combo, because otherwise you are not getting that that combo, at least not the full one. You're gonna get some kind of truncated combo because you're not gonna have enough time, you know. But there's not much to say about Sub-Zero. His damage is really low because of all the damage scaling that he received. Most of his tools are powerful and unique, kind of, but they've been gimped from what they were. And so you always have to be careful about using them too much. In order to win with this character, you kind of have to be prepared to outplay your opponent. And it's doable. It's definitely doable. Sub-Zero has the goods to beat other characters. But, ooh, that was sexy as fuck. I gotta run that motherfucker back. So watch this. Whiff punish. Ooh, whiff punish with the overhead. Nasty. So doing things like that is important. Being mindful of your spacing. Being mindful of how far you can poke versus how far your opponent can poke. And being able to catch people. You know. Ooh. Using your pokes to set up ice clones. All that kind of stuff. So you have to be prepared to outplay people. And be prepared to keep your distance. Because if you do anything else, you're going to be outclassed. Sub-Zero doesn't even get all that much off of an anti-air. Like a jab anti-air. Like you have characters like Raiden that used to get 45% off of a jab anti-air. Not Sub. He's getting like 17. You know. So you got to do other things. But the bulk of what I want to use this video to do is to ask NRS. We know you have the power to nerf characters, but you also have the power to buff characters. And if any character in this game is deserving of buffs, it's Sub-Zero. He needs some help. Okay? It doesn't make any sense that he can't jail into his strings. It doesn't make any sense that he has to be having his damage scaled. Meanwhile, so many other characters are easily converting for over 40% mid-screen. Some of them aren't even spending bar to do this. Okay? Why do they get the chance to enjoy those things and Sub-Zero can't? You know what I mean? The way Sub-Zero was in the beta was perfect. Perfect. He would have fit directly in this game the way that he was. The very easiest thing that NRS could do is just literally put Sub-Zero back to his beta status. Revert all the changes. However, if you are not inclined to do that, then let me suggest some other buffs. First thing, Ice Ball needs to combo. Hold on a second, you guys. It's so funny that Wallace called because he was the one. We had been discussing this quite a bit. And initially, I was fine with Sub-Zero's Ice Ball not comboing, but Wallace is like, nah, fuck that. His Ice Ball needs to combo. And I argued against him, but You know what? Wallace was right. Ice Ball needs to combo from strings. It needs to. Absolutely. There's no reason that he shouldn't be able to get a combo from a string with Ice Ball. No reason. No reason whatsoever. Okay? So we need a faster Ice Ball. Also, EX clone does not function. And it was bad before anyway. It really was. It's too expensive and not powerful enough to justify how expensive it is. It was currently 2 bars. It's not safe to do. You can always be blown up every time you throw it out. And it doesn't last long enough for you to do anything. But, you know, as of this patch, I don't know if the bug has been fixed by now, but the EX Ice Clone doesn't even freeze people anymore. Like, it just makes them collide into the second clone, but then the second clone doesn't continue the collisions. So the very best thing that NRS can do is to just revamp the move entirely. It needs to be a 1 bar move, and instead of doing 3 clones, it just needs to be 1. And I'll take one of 3 possible buffs, starting from most fair to least fair. The most fair thing you can do with the EX clone is just make it really fast, like 0 frame startup. Or not 0 frame, but 1 frame startup. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's probably the most bare minimum thing you can do. Just crazier startup. The next possible nerf is to give it 1 hit of armor. Keep it the same speed that it's at, which is, I believe, 9 frames. But give it a hit of armor. That'd be super ill. That's probably the best buff overall. But if we want to make things very interesting, my 3rd buff suggestion for Ice Clone would be keep it the same startup. Don't give it any armor, but make it not go away on hit or block. It just comes out, it stays out, and it lasts for twice as long as it does now. Because that would make Sub-Zero a defensive juggernaut. Because now you have a clone that, you know, it functions kind of like Mortal Kombat 3 clone did, where it's just out there. Once it's out there, it's out. You know? So I would love that. But any one of those 3 buffs, I'll happily take. But probably the biggest buff that Sub-Zero needs is to revert that goddamn damage scaling. There's no reason why Sub-Zero's damage should be so low compared to everybody else's when his tools don't compensate for that, you know? So reverting some of that damage scaling is probably priority number 1 for me. I don't need the clone to be the way that it was in the beta, though I would very much like that and enjoy that. I don't need it to be that way, because as far as I'm concerned, the clone does exactly what it's supposed to do. It is there to catch people jumping, discourage them from going crazy on you, and it's weak enough to where characters can punish you on a read if you do it. So you have to do it unpredictably. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But if you're gonna make me a runaway character with bad frames, at the very least, I want to hit hard. I want to hit hard as a motherfucker. I want people to feel the pain when they fuck with Sub-Zero. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's too much to ask. Notice I didn't even ask for his mid to be buffed, though I would very much like that. I ain't even asked for the gaps to be removed, though I very much believe they should be removed. I just want some key things in order of importance. Revert damage scaling, better ice ball, you know, an ice ball that combos, and then EX clone buff or EX clone change. Those 3 changes would take him from the very bottom of the list. He would be decent. And I can handle decent. I can work with decent. I don't like this idea of using a gimped ass character. I don't think it's fair, especially when other characters aren't gimped. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's about it. I think that's about it. This is the last match of this set. You know, my boy didn't want to play no more sub after this. That's great. But once again, thank you guys so much. It's been MK1 Commentary, and I'll see you again soon. Peace.